gather together to focus on infinite being. The light that's here before any idea that it's not. Before any investment in what isn't. What can't happen to the Son of God. And to look with Jesus, the light, the symbol of the light within all of us, the light that is us, to reveal those places where we're denying this infinite peace of the light offered by the light, this infinite love and joy. So today, in the light of divine being and honesty of God being to see that we're the light admitted, to cease to deny, be willing to look directly at the denial that light is all there is, and then refuse to accept anything that other than light. So with lesson 177, we start with the thought of God, the power of our divine being expressing as God is but love and therefore so am I. How holy this sentence is. Yet I'm not sure, I haven't counted up how many times it's repeated, twice every lesson of the review. Jesus says this is one that the ego doubts greatly. For to see this as all other thoughts of God is to see that the ego has no dominion here over the Son of God. God is but love, and therefore so am I, the big L, the jumbo L. Not the love that is exchanged between objects. It seems to flow back and forth and then be cut off. Suddenly, where's all that love, Jesus? Oh yeah, right, I just denied myself all the love given by the Father through the decision, and this is lesson 163, the decision for death, to experience death. There is no death, the Son of God is free. So as we gather, looking in the light at the denials, where is this denied? Where is God is but love, and therefore so am I? This very simple lesson, as simple as seeing the light itself. Where is there a belief in the subconscious mind, this attraction to death, to the experience, wanting it? Forget, death is guilt. Guilt is death. Death is time. I love that. I found a little saying that says, in Sanskrit, the same word for death is time. The experience of time, where we can see in the light of divine being. In the light of divine being, does time exist in our direct experience as light beings? In the honesty of God, the honesty of one with our Father. No time. There's only the timeless nature of being. There is no death. The Son of God is free. Death is a thought that takes many forms, often unrecognized. For a while, I was really focusing on the death in the body. It was helpful. Jesus says that's helpful to see that desire to experience death as a body. In the light of divine being, is it possible to experience death in a body? Does the light experience death? Does it know what death is? It's helpful to look for that death wish and the forms that are unrecognized, and ask Jesus to show us, what form am I not recognizing? Am I refusing to recognize death? We know what they are. The part of the mechanism of hiding from this divine light, or pretending like it's not there, denying it's there, is death. To deny our daily bread of the infinite light is death in any form. It may appear as sadness. Jesus, is there any desire for sadness to hide, deny divine light? I'm willing to see it. and place that on the altar of infinite being. Any story of sadness, that sadness is possible, that's invested in. Sadness that I'm not awake yet, part of the trick. See that that's a trick. Self-imposed dungeon. Sadness that God's not here or someone that I want is not here. In the light of divine being, does sadness exist? Does sadness have any dominion over this light of divine being? So only in the play of the desire can it appear. It may appear as fear. Jesus, will you show me the desire to experience fear? I'm willing to look directly at it in the light of divine being. The energetic investment in that experience. And then saying that it's true. Is fear true in the light of a divine being? And to see it with the light of infinite being. Anxiety or doubt. Will you show me the desire for anxiety and doubt? The deep desire for that experience. To doubt who I am, actually. All doubts are a means that we miscreated to doubt that we are light. All part of pretend. We can ask the light this. Or all doubts part of the pretend mechanism that we aren't divine, and here is the answer. We were watching the Matrix trilogy, and thousands and billions of doubt thoughts, attack thoughts, and the sentinels, they just kept coming. They keep coming. Why do these doubt thoughts keep coming, Jesus? Because you desire them. Because you want them to deny who you are. That had to be faced in the mind. How come when I'm fighting Mr. Smith, if you've seen The Matrix, he just replicates thousands of Mr. Smiths, and they keep coming because you desire that experience of fighting. For while it's in purpose to see that you're not subject, but notice that the fear, see that light, does the light fight? Doesn't know what fighting is. So as soon as there's one idea of fight or attack, it's death. It's the desire for infinite being to experience itself as capable of dying. One thought. It may appear as sadness, fear, anxiety, or doubt as anger. The desire for anger is experienced. Is there any desire in the subconscious mind for anger to mask over the guilt? The investment, liking guilt, wanting it, the attraction to it. Oh, I want some of that. I'm willing to see it. Faithlessness and lack of trust. The desire for faithlessness, to be faithless, to have no faith in ourselves. No faith in the divine light that's here. To lose faith. Is there any desire to lose faith that I'm already awake? I'm already what is. I'm willing to see it. This spiritual journey is exhausting, Jesus. Who's the one who's speaking? Faithlessness. Lack of trust. Trust would settle every problem now, because trust always points back to divine nature. It's trust that we are the light, because we've given all of our power to faithlessness. We've abdicated divine power to being faithless. In the New Covenant, Jesus says the faithless are lost. Faithlessness is a form of denial of what's here. Concern for bodies. Actually, most of the Matrix is concern for bodies. We're going to save another body. Those sentinels are going to attack our body. It'll be death. We'll die. We must be saved. We must be saved. Who's the one who's being saved? It's the belief that death is salvation. Not just death of the body. Death in any kind of anything other than the light is death. It's the attempt to experience death, the desire to experience death. Envy. What is there, does the light find to be envious of? Yet we can look directly in the light as envy something, the haves and the have-nots. Someone has something. I want it. Envy is lack of faith that all that's already given. All forms in which the wish to be as you are not may come to tempt you. For you, because of our desire for it. First, he says it may come to tempt us because of the belief it's outside of our control. The desire for an experience in which faithlessness, lack of trust, anxiety, doubt, fear, sadness, and anger are outside of our control. This is the desired experience. Ask the light, are all of these a desired experiences appearing? And hear the light's answer. Yet the light would say they have no bearing on the Son of God. All such thoughts are but reflections of the worshiping of death. It's either light or death. See that in the light there's no in-between. Is there any in-between death and the light, infinite light within? The two can never meet. That's why any thought brought to the light is the immediate seeing through it, because it cannot pervade in the light of truth. Embodiment of fear, the host of sin, God of the guilty, and Lord of all illusions and deceptions, does the thought of death seem mighty? Embodiment of fear. All the desire to feel small and attacked. Can the light experience attack? All the desire for attack. To see all the attack. Somehow, sometimes we have to see him directly, like Neo. The one. The one isn't the one who saves others. The one is the one who sees that infinite light is already here and ceases to deny it. And accepts it as it is, perfect, whole, and complete. For it seems to hold all living things within its withered hand, all hopes and wishes in its blighted grasp, all goals perceived but in its sightless eyes. Are the eyes of the body sightless? We can ask the light. In our direct experience as light beings. The frail, the helpless, and the sick bowed down before its image, thinking it alone is real, inevitable, worthy of their trust. Jesus, is there any desire to have an experience where the ego thoughts of death are worth our trust? I'm willing to see it. For it alone will surely come, because we call these to ourselves as experience. All things but death are seen to be unsure, too quickly lost, however hard to gain. This is deep. All things but death and taxes are seen to be unsure. Death is the means by which the ego tries to plan the surety plan. You can be sure you're going to die. Until we can see that it's a desire for that experience of death, but not just of a body. The body's merely a symbol for the denial of every waking moment that's given over to the thought of other is death. That's how wide-ranging this is. Yet even those thoughts do not stand a candle to infinite being that we are. All things but death are seen to be unsure, too quickly lost, however hard to gain, uncertain in their outcome. The desire for uncertainty. Jesus, I'm willing to see all the desire for uncertainty. It's like a pretend cycle between certainty and uncertainty at the same time. We can see in the light of infinite being what certainty truly is. What is certainty in the light of infinite being? It's what is. It's not something sought. The ego is always seeking certainty at the same creating uncertainty. So that's a loop of cycling, the simultaneous certainty and uncertainty, but certainty of control, of holding on to. Does the light hold on to anything? Does the light have a cycle? An up or a down, a left or a right? No position. No positions is happiness. And apt to fail hopes they once engendered, and to leave the taste of dust and ashes. The desire for the taste of dust and ashes. Let's I'm willing to look at that. Let's see, look deep at that one. Dust, the desire for the experience of dust and ashes. We really have built a haunted house. Halloween, really look at Halloween, because that is really what it's. It's looking at death without really looking at the desire for it. But you can see it's such a representation. What's the celebration? Death and dying and bones, and that's what we're doing every day when we're not the infinite light. We're celebrating at the halls of the haunted house. I want this haunted house, Jesus. What's the problem? We want that haunted house. Not we. Somehow consciousness plays that way. It's innocence playing until it's seen. It's seen in the light of divine being. A place of aspirations and of dreams. But death is counted on. That's the one thing you can count on, boy. For it will come with certain for its steps when the time has come for its arrival. It will never fail to take all life as hostage to itself. And then we fight death. This is the fascinating thing within the consciousness. We fight death. Just feel the fight. That's actually the desire for death, the fighting death. So I'm going to fix up the body. I'm going to decorate it. I'm going to stretch it out tight. I'm going to lift it up because it's going down. So let's let me tell you, the best facelift is the holiness face, the happiness, no clinging on. And to see past the form is the best face, to have no face whatsoever. See itself. We are the light. I'm going to fix that form no matter what. It's innocence, right? We can't judge it. We can see where our energy goes. Oh, you know, if But you can see how that death occurs with the body. You know, it goes that heat-seeking missiles looking for a place where the body's not perfect, or the legs aren't right, toes don't look good. You know, it just hunts around for something. Is the light looking at any of that? Oh, geez, I don't want to put any energy around that. The light, divine being. It's got to be hefty laughter, because boy. Anyway, we're adorable. We're just a little misguided here, so Jesus straighten us out. Jesus gonna straighten us out. Okay, we start to see through that. Going up. Okay. But death is counted on. We love death more than God. If we're unhappy, we love it more than God. That's honesty of God. It's not perfect peace. We're loving death. That's okay. I'm willing to look. It will never fail to take all life as hostage to itself. We're trying to take life hostage, so let's see how well that works. The futility and the light of being. Let's just look at light of being and see if it can be held hostage. How long that would last. Oh, in the light of divine nature, is it possible to have hostages? We can see it's just a play, right? Pretend. The pretend hostage. The dream. A hostage is a dream. Would you bow down to idols such as this? Well, in honesty of God, yes, I am. But is it true? When we played the game in consciousness, we just admit, okay. For a time, yet we see an eternity. It's just the play. Its innocence playing is what it's not, as a hostage to itself. Come on. Come on. The desire to play hostage to ourselves. Whew. Any desire for play hostage? Play myself as hostage to myself in a dream of separation. I'm willing to see it. Would you bow down to idols such as this? Here is the strength and might of God himself perceived within the idol made of dust. Here is the opposite of God proclaimed as Lord of all creation, stronger than God's will for life and endlessness of love and heaven's perfect, changeless constancy. In the light of divine being, is there only constancy? Is there any traction to change, desire to experience it, to be an object being changed? I'm willing to see it. The changeless is already here always. It's the dabbling with the Tinkertoys that Jesus talks about, dabbling with the Tinkertoys of time, constructing little things, constructing little ideas about ourselves, constructing the idea that we're worthless or worthiness or not enough, or all those constructions within the mind for the desired experience of feeling unworthy, feeling small and powerless. Here's the will of the Father and of the Son defeated finally. To defeat the will of the Father. In the light of divine being, is it possible to defeat the will of the Father even if we want to? Can we find that as experience in infinite light? It's like fight, fight, fight. 6 hours of fighting. 6 hours. And beautiful. The matrix is really beautiful because the desire is there to see past the matrix, the self-created matrix of self-doubt about identity, true identity. Defeated finally and laid to rest beneath the headstone death has placed upon the body of the Holy Son of God. We love all that death. The play at funerals. Really have to look at that deeply with Jesus. to see the desire for it. Unholy in defeat, he's become what death would have him be. His epitaph, which death itself has written, gives no name to him, for he has passed to dust. It says but this, here lies a witness God is dead. That's direct. Here lies a witness God is dead. Oh, that's deep. The desire to experience God is dead. Let's look at that in the light of divine being, that desire. Because that's the whole gig, really, to deny the light. The witness to prove that God dies. Yet, as the light of divine being, does God ever die? Can we find that in truth? So the whole world's to bear witness to the death of God continually. Eons of death, histories of deaths and more deaths, and deaths on top of deaths, and killing and fighting. And has it ever worked? Yet within the play of consciousness, we would play that game over and over again. And this it writes again and still again, while all the while its worshippers agree. Worshipping death. Jesus, is there any desire in the subconscious mind to worship death? I'm willing to see it. Kneeling down with foreheads on the ground, they whisper fearfully that it's so. The desire to prove that the light's not here, that the light's wrong. This is death. Is it possible to worship death? It is possible to worship death in any form and still select a few you would not cherish and would yet avoid, yet while still believing in the rest. So we like selective. We'll give you over a couple of things to the light of divine being. We're going to hold back on a few because of the belief in sacrifice, because of the investment in the desire to experience sacrifice. That is the trick in the play. While seeing that we're not withholding, it's such a flipped protection, the belief that protection from God is salvation. So any part of the mind withheld, that subconscious mind, withheld from Christ's control, is a desire to experience death. That's why you have to give it all to Jesus, everything. It's not giving it, but the ego's going to go, okay, that feels terrible. And that's death, because the ego is death. It interprets the light as death. The interpretation of light as death. It has to be that way in order to deny the light. Because the light's here. So despite all the playing and, as we've said before, gnashing of teeth, it's still here. So it has to play like that. So one single is still the desire for death. The belief that death is salvation. So peace of mind can never be found. It's the means by which peace of mind has never be found, and the light's avoided. While still believing in the rest, for death is total. Either all things die, we're either dead, or we're life itself. We're the light. Nothing. See that those two things don't meet. Can the light ever meet death? But when they're brought together by bringing everything to the light, we can see that the light's infinitely more powerful, and says, that's just ridiculous. That's just, well, because the light doesn't really say it's ridiculous, but it can be seen as not true. The light just sees it. Doesn't see it at all, actually. It sees it not there, not possible. Death not possible. Does light have death hidden in there somewhere? we can look, because that's the belief, that the light is death. That the light is death. That's the ego's plan, that light is death. But yet we can see in the light, is there any death that can't be found? Either all things die or else they live and cannot die. No compromise is possible. We can see no compromise is possible between everlasting infinite light and death. Is there something in between that? Again, we see an obvious position which we must accept if we be sane. Is the light sanity? Is death insanity? Insanity is in the light of divine honesty of God. Is death insanity? Wrong-mindedness, which we must accept if we be sane, which contradicts one thought entirely, cannot be true unless it is opposite. Its opposite is proven false. The idea of the death of God is so preposterous that even the insane have difficulty believing it. See. Is the light of divine being. We know that death is untrue. There's always, you can see it in all these movies too. There's always a way out of the insane belief of death. There always is. We can't totally trick ourselves that death is real, that false is real. We can't, because we're the light. Look, the light comes first. So we can only pretend. But anytime we look, the light's still here, regardless of how much pretending, fabrication of ourselves as a body, it's still here. For it implies that God was once alive and somehow perished. That's the belief. God has perished, killed apparently by those who did not want him to survive, him. So we actually want to kill ourselves. Not we. Consciousness wants to play at death. There's no person doing it. It just wants to play the game of killing itself. Until that scene, it calls into consciousness all the proof. This is proof I'm dead. This is proof I'm dead. This is proof over. I'm dead. I'm dead. I'm dead. And then we look at the light. Wait, we're not dead. How's that happening? Their stronger will could triumph over his, the will of God, and so eternal life gave way to death. And with the Father died the Son as well. Death's worshippers may be afraid, and yet can thoughts like these be fearful? If they saw that it is only this which they believe, they would be instantly released. Instant release. And the light of divine being is instant release available in our direct experience. And you will show them this today. There's no death, and we renounce it now in every form for their salvation and our own as well. Renounce it in every form. God made not death. Did the light make death? See that it's an idea arising in the light itself, actually, with the light not knowing anything about it, because we are light first. Whatever form it takes must therefore be illusion. This is the stand we take today. This is standing in divine power. It is given us to look past death and see life beyond. Our Father, bless our eyes today. We are your messengers, and we look upon the glorious reflection of your love which shines in everything. We live and move in you alone. We are not separate from your eternal life. There is no death, for death is not your will. That's a good sentence for everything. That's another one of those thoughts of all-purpose thoughts of God. There is no death, for death is not your will. And we abide where you have placed us in the life we share with you and with all living things, to be like you and part of you forever. We accept your thoughts as ours, and our will is one with yours eternally. God is but love, and therefore so am I. Lesson 164. Now we are one with him who is our source. See that as the light. We were talking about that yesterday. Set yourself on infinite and stay only that, the light. Until you see that you can't be anything other. There isn't anything other than infinite light. till all the denials just melt away. And see that it's the only choice is to have an experience, an attempt to deny the light. There's no choice to be the light. God is but love, and therefore so am I. Amen. So anyone who would feel the call, we do have a group, like a messenger group on Facebook. So I don't know if we have all of you on that. If you'd like, when the New Covenant, the whole, it's being put together into a PDF. And if you just make sure, I know I have Marguerite, might have Linda, I'm not really clear, but if you're not on that list where you get an instant messenger and you would like to be, when that's added, please just send us a message through Facebook or email us at our website, and we'll make sure that you have access to that if the call of your heart's there to see it. Love you. Thank you.